Hey everybody, it's Angela Atkins again, and I am here with Straight Talk on Saturday. And I just want to check in and see who's here. I just had a little bit of technical issues, so I'm hoping everybody can see what's going on and can hear me. So as you pop in, give me a hi, let me know you're here, and I will hopefully be able to get the message off to you today. Today, I'm talking about how commercials are killing us. Now, I know that sounds like a wildly overrated topic here, but it's a point of frustration for me. And I wanted to explain it to you, and I wanted to give you feedback on what I think is the right thing that's going on. So, for this, I'm going to talk about how the media has a great influence on what I call disease care, because it's not health care in the United States. We are not out doing the preventive type of medicine that we should be doing. It's starting to get there, but it's just not there yet. So, because of that, what we have are drug companies, the pharmaceutical reps, promoting products to us that really don't afford us the preventative health care that we need, but rather masking the diseases. And that's why I call the system that we have disease care rather than health care. Hey, Timmy, nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. So, this morning, what I want to talk about is how we have gotten to where we are. Now, bear with me, I've got some notes with me because I did some research on the statistics. I am overwhelmed by what I saw recently. I'm not a heavy television watcher, but I was watching something recently on live television. And live television, you can't fast forward with the commercials. So unfortunately, I had to sit through every single one as I was watching this particular show. And it got me thinking, is this normal? Is this what really happens in regular everyday television? And if so, how much is being exposed? Hey, I hope I don't mess up your name, but how welcome Falchouch. And if I mispronounced it, my apologies. And Mira, thank you for joining. I just want to explain how this impacted me as a health and nutrition coach. Hi, Gavin. Good morning to you. So what I want to say is what we've done in our society is look at things from a different perspective rather than being proactive and preventative medicine. We're in the practice of disease care. So what I did is, as I was researching what had troubled me from watching the show, I came across some alarming statistics. And let me just give you a snippet of what I was looking at. In 2014, it was estimated that 95% of people watch television leisurely. Now, that may not be surprising, but it kind of surprised me that so many people were watching this amount. Just about 5 hours of TV every single day. Now, that's a huge chunk of a day to me. I don't have 5 hours to sit in front of the television, so there must be something specific or a specific population that is watching TV. And what I found out is that not only is it just live TV they're also watching recorded TV. And on average, it's the American population that is watching more TV than any other group. Good morning, Ray. Great to see you. Good morning. Again, with names, I apologize. I'm not so great in the pronunciation of other names, but Abidel Hamad, I welcome you also. So, how much time do you spend watching TV? Now, I know I'm not the typical person because I have multiple things that I'm doing, and TV to me is a low priority. But you may be retired or you may have other interests that drive you to watching TV. If you could post in the comments, on average, how many hours per week do you think you watch TV? And I'd like to do that compared to what this media company has said what the average is. Good morning, Tom. Welcome. If you have an estimate of how much TV you actually watch in a week, just give me a number in the chat just so I have something to work with. because on average it says American viewers watch over just about 5 hours per week. And I'm just curious how many hours the average person who's watching me, who may not be the typical American viewer because they already have interest in health, and they may be doing things that are more proactive rather than being sedentary. So I would say on average, I watch less than an hour a day. So what's that? Maybe 7 hours a week. But what I'm finding here in my statistics, it's really surprising. It is people over 65 who are watching the most television. They consume about 47 hours each week. That, to me, that statistic was amazing. I would not have imagined that amount of TV watching. And in the process, you're seeing about, I guess, let's say, I don't even want to do the math, but let's just say on average, women are watching more than men, and it's about 40 minutes more for women. And that's just the statistics. But every hour there air about 38 commercials across the nation. So that adds up to being the average consumer watching 15 minutes of commercial every hour. Well, put that together with the typical amount of watching, that's about an hour a day of commercial watching. That's incredible. Now, this is a huge industry. They spend $78 billion in TV ads alone just in 2013, and it's increased every year since then. And I'm just amazed at that kind of money. But consider this, it is huge business. Their customers at the other end of that TV, so they're sending their message, so you, the consumer, will buy their products. Good morning, Ian. Glad to have you here. So what I am finding is that not only is it the big companies, the Amazons, of course the NFL now is who is out marketing their product for the season coming up, but you've got, car companies and other big name things. But what I find now is that when I sat through these commercials, there are more food-like products being advertised to consumers. The Doritos, the M&Ms, beer, all the carbonated beverages of every type, everything you can possibly think of that is related to what we do every day, eat and drink. And there are the large food manufacturers, the big companies with all of their various products, and the fast food chains. They're always advertising, and there's so much more like that. But what I find is that right behind those ads are the ads for drugs. This was shocking. I was sat there, and it was a food-like substance and maybe a drug that said, if this product gives you this digestive problem, take this pill. And I'm like, this was an ongoing thing that I noticed. It was almost like they had planned it. Here's this food that we know is probably not good for you and probably going to cause some side effect. And then here's this pill to counteract it. I'm like, are we listening? Do we not see what they're doing here? They're selling us something that's going to cause a reaction that then you need to take a pill to feel better. Well, that just spurred me into this research, like, where is this coming from? So what I looked up was why, what is going on? Are there more food ads? Are there more drug ads? Well, amazingly, there are more drug ads. And here's one of the statistics that I found mind-boggling. So there are more drug ads now than in the past. And according to one media research firm, there are over 771,000 drug ads just shown in 2016, which is the last year they have data for. And that's an increase of 65% since 2012. Wow, 65% in 4 years. What has happened? Have we gotten, that sick that we're needing more and more drugs? Or is it something else? So I looked at one of the drugs that had those particular ads that I find almost offensive, because they kind of spew this litany of possible side effects after they've told you this drug's going to help you do wonderful things because if you have this condition, but here's the side effects you may encounter. So let me just read one drug ad. Now, mind you, I'm not reading it as fast as you're going to hear on television, but this is what the kind of thing for one particular drug. This is what they say as far as the list of side effects: swelling of legs, hands, and feet, capillary leak syndrome, fever, muscle pain, unusual bruising, dizziness, blurry vision, rash, hives, blisters, nervous system and blood disorders, lymphoma, swollen tongue, dry mouth, weight gain, inability to fight infections, nausea, diarrhea, constipation, depression, dehydration, suicidal thoughts, and oh yes, death. I don't know about you, but I don't want to take any drug that's going to have any of these symptoms, much less the possibility of having more than one of them. So, what has happened? We used to have these commercials for medications for non-life-threatening diseases, and we would have a pill to calm down our stomach. Like I said before, if you have those commercials, this food could potentially cause some product. You eat your favorite food and it causes that nausea, diarrhea, constipation, whatever that whole thing is, and here's the medication for it. That was the typical thing that we had. And now what we're seeing is they're preying on our heartstrings for life-threatening diseases, and they're preying to that senior population who may have those diseases. It's that mindset that's scaring the older viewer, thinking, oh my, this must be what I need. And they're, with the myriad of side effects, you would think they would run hiding and saying, oh no, I can't do that. But marketing has proved that instead of scaring people away by listing these side effects that are potentially going to happen to them, it is creating a credibility for that particular drug, because of truth in advertising laws, they have to state these things. And so people are thinking, well, if this is a powerful drug and I need that for the condition that I have, then I've got to be willing to accept the risks along with the rewards. Wow. What a mind-boggling thing that was for me to realize, that they are not preying on people thinking that, in my thoughts, I'm talking back to the television saying, what? It's going to cause what? Why would I want to ever take this? Instead, the average consumer who has this disease is thinking, that must be powerful stuff. I'm going to have to talk to my doctor about that. So they've figured out the psychology behind giving the information they need to give. They need to come up front with what is it that this product is causing. And unfortunately, it's working. Oh, I see more people have logged in. So good morning, Ann. Hi, Cheryl. Glad you joined us. Good morning to you. Hi, Shirley. And you're true. Ads about health should be used during important events. I agree with you. But here's the thing. We're not getting what we need from these ads. We're not getting the complete information. We're not being told how it's administered, how much it needs. I mean, we're only talking 15, 30-second ads because they are so expensive. They can only put a limited amount of information in there. And instead of being a scare tactic saying, oh, here's this information and it's going to help with this horrible disease that you may have, but it may cause these side effects, people are saying, I'm willing to take that chance just to get away from what's causing these problems right now. Now that I find that terrible, because as someone who's working with people trying to prevent disease, if you've already got one, then don't force people into a position to taking those risks with their life by taking a medication that for me doesn't seem to be the perfect choice. If it's going to potentially cause all these side effects, then why are you taking them? I get it. You may be at the last straw. You don't know what else to do. And so you see this ad, or your doctor, who has been informed by a pharmaceutical rep about the latest and greatest medication for this condition, You want that because you're desperate. But I say back up, think about it. Everything that you put in your mouth or on your skin directly relates to to the disease or the development of disease. And so you may have to start considering, don't go don't go to the most drastic point first. Do the least invasive before you get to the most damaging or potentially damaging, because many times these medications, you actually have to be healthy enough to take them because they can be toxic, and many are toxic to portions of our body. So what I'm suggesting and what I'm promoting is start with the least invasive first, and that is always with the food you eat. So if you're having potentially some chronic illness, one thing to look at is, what am I eating? What am I putting in my mouth or on my body? Because that's going to be your primary driver of getting you healthy. The food you eat, provide your body with the right nourishment, provide your cells with the right information to do the right function. Good morning, Shirley. Thank you for joining us. Right now, there are myriads of people across the United States and the world who are taking multiple medications. I mean, just those of you watching, how many medications are you taking? I would think, and this is just my guess before you have any answers, if you're already so inclined to be watching someone like me who is focused on natural medicine and using the least invasive medicine and using nutrition, using food as medicine, I would think you were using very few kinds of drug as a way of keeping yourself healthy. Can you drop a number in the chat? How many medications you're actually taking? Are you taking just one for one particular thing? Or have you been, like most people who get to older years, have you been given many to keep you going? Anybody have a number for how many medications you're on? Looks like we got a quiet crowd this morning. I know it's early. Play with me. Tell me, anybody taking any medication, just give me a yes or a no. That would be great. Any medications at all? I mean, most people, by the time you get to be a senior, 65 or greater, most people will say, yes, I'm taking at least like a blood pressure medication or something to control something that's got out of whack while they've gotten older. In the past, you've taken up to 7. That seems fairly normal for people who have not gone the natural way. That if you rely on doctors who, again, are getting their medical information about new medications from the pharmaceutical rep, they will try to apply that next visit you have. They will try to apply the best medication that they've discovered, the latest and greatest, that's going to help your condition, because that's what they know. And again, I do not have a problem with medical doctors. I love them dearly. I'm glad they're there. But we need to get out of the cycle of disease care and into preventative care and using nutrition as a primary focus. We need to get our medical schools to put nutrition back into it, well, actually added into the coursing, because I know there are limited amounts of hours that doctors have in nutrition. I've heard anywhere between 7 and 20 hours that they have in the course of the many years that they're in medical school. So we need to get medical doctors focused away from medicines, even though that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to diagnose and prescribe. We need to change that paradigm. And part of that is, as us as consumers, we need to stop accepting these commercials as the right way to go. Stop telling, manufacturers, this is not what we want. Stop giving us food-like substances. And the way you do that is by, using your dollars. Stop buying those non-real foods, those food-like substances that are causing these I don't want to say disease. They're causing these conditions. The more people who have autoimmune spectrum conditions have resulted in what they have put in and on their body rather than something else. So it's not just the environment in the outside world. Like I was exposed to X, Y, and Z. And that is true. Being exposed to toxins of any sort, including, automobile fumes or toxic chemicals in a lab, yes, they can all have effects on developing disease, but we are the primary driver of our own diseases by what we eat and what we put on our bodies. Remember, the food that goes in our bodies are what builds our cells. What we put on our skin is completely absorbed. So we put all these lotions and these sunscreens that have all these chemicals in them. And what happens is this organ, our skin, absorbs them, goes into our system, and it can cause a reaction that maybe we don't see immediately, like we do with food sometimes. If we eat a food that doesn't agree with us, we may have an immediate reaction to it, or within a few minutes, but we may not see that reaction to what goes on our skin immediately, because it takes time for the body to absorb it and all the processes that go on. Now, I'm not a scientist and I'm not going to be able to describe that to you, but it is something that we see, and I see in my practice with clients who have been on medications. And I've had clients that have been on 10 or more medications that come to me and say, I need to get off of these things because they don't make me feel well. And what happens when we get into a discussion of how they got to where they got, I went to the doctor, is the first thing they said. I went to the doctor with this symptom and they gave me a pill. And when that symptom didn't resolve, they gave me another pill. And this is what's driving this. And manufacturers and pharmaceutical companies know this. So if we use our dollars to wisely say no more, we want to have a healthier society, and it's starting with us. We need to start with our own health, because if we don't, nobody else is going to do it for us. The doctor is there to do what he's trained to do, to prescribe, to diagnose and prescribe. And so because of that, he's going to give you a pill if he thinks that's going to alleviate your symptoms. And that's the whole point. That pill is just going to mask your symptoms for the most part. When we're talking about lifestyle diseases, it's going to be, you've got that acid reflux, that pill is just going to stop that feeling of burning. It's not going to fix the condition. You actually need to figure out what food is triggering that acid reflux and most likely remove it from your diet. So stop letting media drive you to the next best thing. We should not be getting our health information from the media. We should not be getting our health information from those who are just benefiting from the dollars we spend. Yes, we need the information, but what we should do is we should ask our doctors to inform us better. Tell us what the side effects are. Tell us, what is this going to do if I don't take it? What are the alternatives to what I should take? Now, seriously, these are things that many of us may do already, but I would say maybe not all of us. And I encourage you, go to my website, yourhealthunbound.com, and right on the main page, you'll see I have 10 questions you should ask your doctor. And the reason why I thought that was the most important thing is because most people I was seeing as clients were not asking the right questions. They were just accepting what the doctor said. They said, you have X, Y, and Z condition. Here's a pill for it. They took it. They may or may not have felt better. It may have masked their symptoms, but they weren't getting better. They weren't getting a reversal of whatever the symptoms were. They were just getting a kind of a blanking of it. It was just made it neutral, so they didn't feel it. So I encourage you, go there now, download those 10 questions, and ask them the next time you go to your doctor. Don't let the media force you into a situation where you've got this life-threatening disease, and the only thing you know is what you hear in a commercial. Hey, you can take this medication, but it could potentially give you all these side effects, and accept that as the norm. It just isn't the norm. Ask if there is a natural alternative. Have these questions, print out that sheet, take it with you to the doctor, ask them those questions and say, I'm really looking for a better solution. I'm not looking to just mask the symptoms that I'm having. I'm looking to reverse what's causing this, and I don't want it anymore. I want to live healthy. And from here on, I want to be proactive about my health. What is it I need to do to be more healthy? Where can I go? Where can I find this information? And you're going to find it nowadays both on the web, in trusted sources. And that's one thing you have to look for yourself. You have to find the sources that you can trust. If you already know people, you can ask them, what sources do you trust? Or you can just start somewhere. Start here, check out my site, see if indeed you find something you can trust. I'm happy to help you find somebody who does something different than I do. I'm not a specialist in any particular thing, except I work with people who are on the autoimmune spectrum and help them to restore their health naturally. I'm more than happy to discuss with any of you what it is that you would like to do. But I do encourage you, get those 10 questions, ask your doctor, especially if you have some sort of life-threatening or ongoing disease that's being treated with just a pill. Is there another option? Is there a more natural way to go? And that natural way will be what helps your cells recover more quickly, because then it's not fighting off the chemicals. Our bodies weren't meant to process chemicals. They're foreign substances. And many of them, because they're foreign substances, are being toxic to our systems. So detoxify yourself. Get rid of the chemicals when you can. It's a slow process. You don't come off of them right away. It takes time to wean yourself off medication, and I suggest you do that with a medical professional. But it's important to go as close to naturally clean as you can and stop listening to all that noise that's out there. Even if you have a life-threatening disease, ask those questions first. What's the alternative? Is there a natural option? If so, let's try that first. It's not going to be as damaging to your body as putting all those chemicals in. And I say this with the most sincere respect to doctors and to their training and to their expertise. Let's try to get back to natural first. It's really going to benefit us individually and as a nation. Let's get off of this medication roller coaster and let's get back to real food. Again, we need to have a real food revolution where we stop buying food-like products, stop enjoying, you can enjoy the commercials all they want because some are extremely funny, but don't let it drive you to buying them and increase their sales, which only increases the marketing campaigns that they have to get you to buy their products, which then puts you on that roller coaster for the follow-up ads for the medications. So stop it. I just say the commercials are killing us. We need to get back to natural. Let's stop focusing on what media is offering us, which is a disease care system. And let's focus on real, natural health from nutrition and become healthy inside out. From every bite you put on the end of your fork is where you start with your medicine. I want to thank everybody for joining me this morning. If anybody's got any questions, I'll stay here a couple of minutes more to answer them. I hope I've hit everybody and said good morning to everybody, but if I haven't, let me just say a general good morning because some of you have scrolled up off my screen. Hold on one second. Good morning, Christine. Hello, Anthony. Cindy, glad to see you. Hi, Jim. So if you have questions and we haven't had the opportunity to answer them because I don't want to keep you any longer. I know it's Saturday morning and everybody likes to get out and do their thing. But I just post the questions below. I'll be glad to answer them. And please stop over at yourhealthunbound.com. Get those 10 questions. Ask your doctor the next time you're there. If you have a condition that you really want to evaluate naturally, ask those questions and see if they don't get you a solution that brings you health-related results that are not pharmaceutical, that are more natural and pleasing to your body, because your body needs non-toxic stuff. It doesn't need all those chemicals. So food is medicine, and please take the best medicine you can as many times as you eat every day. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining me. See you next week.